Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx back in the DJcity UK lab. A slightly unusual episode for you today. A few weeks back I did a first look at this thing, the XDJ-XZ from Pioneer DJ. At the time I'd only had it, like a day before I made the video, and I was working with beta firmware and beta software. That's why it was a first look. I would never review something that I've only had a day to play with. But what that led to was a little bit of confusion about how it works with regards to 2 and 4 decks. It is a 2-deck standalone unit. If you're playing off USB, it's 2 decks. That's the end of the story. But if you're playing off a computer, using it in controller mode, then it is a 4-deck machine. And I just hadn't worked it out. I didn't have a lot of information at the time. I was comparing notes with other reviewers, other people who got sent it ahead of time, and there was a lot of confusion going around. And I've gone back and I've added comments to the original videos, but I'm not happy with that because the full review is going to take a while. I'm going to leave it until the Serato support comes along. I don't see the point of reviewing it without its full feature set available. So I'm not going to have that review probably till early 2020. And this is not something that Pioneer DJ have asked me to do. Not at all. They've not even raised it with me. It's not like Pioneer DJ have said, hey Mojaxx, you messed up. Can you correct this stuff? No. This is for my benefit really, because it's just going to annoy me to have that video out there on its own with vague and incorrect information in there in all the weeks leading up to the full review. So for my benefit really, let's clarify the situation with the XDJ-XZ. So let's go through connecting the XDJ-XZ to a computer in the first place. You can switch one side at a time by hitting the link button to the left of the screen. You can start playing audio from the computer immediately, although the display doesn't switch over until both sides are linked. Once you've done that, the screen looks the same with only 2 decks on there, and of course there are no dedicated deck swap buttons on the unit. But you do still have full access to decks 3 and 4 in rekordbox. The way you switch over to those is through the shortcut button on the right of the screen. When connected to the software, you'll find the usual quantize and lock settings, but also 2 extra virtual buttons to switch between decks 1 or 3 and 2 or 4. Once you've pressed those, the whole deck section, the controls, the in-jog display, all change over to the selected virtual deck, just as if you were to do it with a physical button. You will still only see 2 decks on the screen at any one time, but that display also changes to reflect the chosen virtual deck. Another area of confusion with the XZ initially was that on the beta firmware, which myself and other reviewers were using, you could also switch decks by double tapping the shift button on each side. And to be clear, that functionality doesn't exist on the current released firmware, which you'll get if you buy a unit today. But I can confirm that is coming for all users and will be in a future firmware update to be released in early 2020. Another thing which I want to clarify, when I did my first look, I couldn't get the DVS input signal from the inputs on channels 3 and 4 to route anywhere except to decks 1 and 2. But that was with pre-release drivers and a beta version of rekordbox, and I'm pleased to report that in the released version of rekordbox 5.8.0, I can route those inputs to whichever of the 4 decks I choose. Much more flexible and actually pretty cool, as not all interfaces will allow that. So yes, to be completely clear, the XDJ-XZ has 2 channels in standalone mode and 4 channels in controller mode with rekordbox, with DVS inputs assignable to any deck. And now I feel better. So there you go, some clarification on the functionality of the XDJ-XZ from Pioneer DJ. It really was just for my benefit. It was going to annoy me in the coming weeks as we work towards my full review to have this slightly vague, slightly wrong information out there uncorrected. That was just going to get on my nerves. So consider this a second look. Obviously not a full review still. I know lots of people out there will be queuing up to buy this thing already though, because it ticks a lot of boxes. You've got rekordbox support, Serato support, standalone playback from USBs, and the full-size jog wheels at a fairly affordable price. So yeah, I think this thing is going to be flying off the shelves. And if you're going to be picking it up, you deserve to have the correct information. Thank you for watching today. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell icon down below to get notified anytime there's a new video from myself or the rest of the DJcity team. I'll see you soon.